Hi everyone, this is Yana, and thank you for joining me today. Back in November 2015, I shared a couple of cards created using Modern Deco Alpha stamp set from Alt New, and I made them in a gorgeous Art Deco style. I got a couple of questions as to how I made the cards, so I decided I would share a video tutorial for you and show you in detail how one of the projects was made. So I'm sharing a tutorial for this card as I feel it has some education to offer, although it's a quite simple project. I'm going to be using the shutter cover die from Alt New. It has a lot of beautiful, clean lines that I think are essential for a classic Art Deco design. Here's a look at the die cut you get when you cut this piece out of gold mirror cardstock. It's actually a leftover from the project I'm sharing in this video. So in reality, you're not really using the positive die cut. You are working with the negatives here. Well, the positives too, but we'll get to that in a minute. I also have a sheet of gold mirror cardstock. It's available from a couple different manufacturers. Alt New recently started selling this type of cardstock. Also, Do Crafts has cardstock like that. And you can also buy large sheets like poster board sheets at Hobby Lobby. They are not as high quality, but they are a little cheaper. I also have a black cardstock and two stamp sets. The Modern Deco Alpha and the Sentiments and Quotes sets, and both of these are from Alt New. The Sentiments and Quotes set is among my all-time favorite stamp sets out of all sentiment stamp sets. It has that perfect mix of sentiments. Well, at least it's perfect for me. So the technique used to create a background in this card is called inlaid die cutting. It's very simple and doesn't require anything other than a die, two pieces of cardstock, and some adhesive. So what you need to do is you need to die cut the die you're using for your background twice, each time out of different cardstock. So for this card, you're cutting it once out of gold and one more time out of black. I'm using my platinum die cutting machine and my magnetic platform and cutting this die. You can see I've placed it at an angle here. This way it just makes it a little easier for me to feed the die through the machine. So cut the gold cardstock first and do make sure to keep every single negative piece. Don't throw anything away. We'll be using these negative pieces to do our inlay. Just keep them in a pile on your desk. And another tip is don't pop the negatives out of your die cut. Not the die, but the die cut. Keeping them in the die cut is going to make it a little easier to inlay them, and it will also save some time too. Next, go ahead and cut the same piece out of black cardstock, and this time you do want to get rid of the negatives and only keep the positive pieces. At this point, we're done with the die cutting and can put our die cutting machine away. So grab another piece of black cardstock and cover it with adhesive. I'm using adhesive sheets here from Scrapbook Adhesives, and you can also use Stick It or even your tape runner if you want. The reason we're using black panel as a base here is because our die cuts are black and gold, so rather dark. If by any chance our background ends up showing through the die cuts, it's much less likely it's going to be visible because it's going to match in color to the majority of our die cuts. If you were going with the white and gold, I would say use white as a base panel. Now, if you don't have adhesive sheets like this, you can use glue to adhere everything in place, but it's going to take much longer. I personally love this product, the adhesive sheets, so that's why I'm using these nearly every single time I'm doing the inlaid die cutting technique. You want to burnish the adhesive, make sure it's nice and adhered onto your panel, and then peel off the backing sheet. Now, take your black die cut, clean it from any negatives, and adhere onto your sticky panel. It's best to make the sticky panel a little bit larger than your die cut and just trim it down after you're done making your background. The sticky stuff is rather strong and you probably won't be able to peel off your die cut and reposition it if you mess up. Now grab your gold die cut with the negative pieces still in place and layer it on top of your black die cut, just exactly on top. And now go ahead and grab something you can use to push the negative pieces in place. I'm using the spatula end of my tool-in-one from Spellbinders, but anything really will work. Now, I learned this trick, the placing the die cut with the negatives still in place on top of the positive die cut, from Jennifer McGuire. She shared it about a year ago, and I think this is really a time saver. If we pop the negatives out of the place and try to put them in place one by one, especially on a die cut like this, it's going to take much longer than just pushing the die cuts in place like we're doing here. After you're done pushing the negatives in place, go ahead and remove the positive die cut and continue adding the negatives. The first time I did it, I got about 90% of the negatives in place. This time I had a little less luck, so I had to add more like puzzle pieces. It took me a little longer, but I still love this technique. I think it's perfect for cards with less layers and less dimension and less bulk. Next, go ahead and trim the extra cardstock on the sides of your panel, so cut it to size. Another thing I like to do when I use adhesive sheets is I like to apply some extra pressure after my piece is done, just in case. So I'm using my die cut machine again. I'm sandwiching my piece in between the cutting plates and sanding through the machine. So I'm using the same sandwich as I would for cutting, but I'm not putting the die with my piece. I'm just putting my piece alone. And what that does is it helps the adhesive to activate and really stick to the paper. So that's how I did a background for this project. It might seem complicated at first, but really it's quite easy. Now here's another tip for you. If your cutting plate is well loved, like this one here, do not put it on top of your piece. All of those indentations will end up very visible on your gold cardstock, and it will ruin the whole thing. So put the new unused plate on top. Next, create 2 panels for your sentiment, one out of black cardstock and one out of white. The size will depend on your sentiment, of course. My black panel is about 2 by 2.5 inches, and the white one is just slightly larger, about 1/4 of an inch larger. So I'm going to be heat embossing Be Kind for Everyone You Meet is Fighting a Hard Battle sentiment. This was a one complete sentiment from the Sentiments and Quotes stamp set, and I cut it apart using my scissors, and I decided I would replace the original Be Kind with the Be Kind stamped using Modern Deco Alpha stamps. I'm picking out the letters I need and arranging them on my cutting mat. I'm using grid lines here to make sure I align the letters perfectly. Mounting them onto my clear block, also using one with grid lines, and I'm ready to align the second word now. So doing the exact same thing here and also mounting the letters onto the clear block below the B. It's a good idea to do some test stamping at this point to check if the letters are indeed mounted perfectly straight. I didn't like how one of them was placed, so I just made a minor adjustment. And now I'm ready to go ahead and do my heat embossing. I'm going to prep the paper with my anti-static powder pouch, ink up my stamp using Versamark, a clear sticky ink, and stamp the first part of the sentiment. Covering that with gold embossing powder from Hero Arts. I like it because it's nice and detailed, perfect for sentiments like this one. Stampendo's detailed gold embossing powder is also a very good option and would work nicely for this. Going to use the rest of the sentiment and stamp it to create a multi-line sentiment here. So first stamping For Everyone You, next stamp Meet is Fighting, and finally stamp A Hard Battle. And you can alter any sentiment in this way. I was looking for a sentiment that didn't have letters repeating, so Be Kind doesn't have any letters that repeat, and that was perfect for me as there's only one of each letter in the Art Deco stamp set. You can of course buy 2 alphabet stamp sets and you will not have that problem. So go ahead and add your gold embossing powder again and use Heat Tool to heat set it in place. Once that is done, you can adhere your black panel onto the white panel. I'm using Scrapbook Adhesive's Grand Tape Runner here, and then foam mount that onto your background. You can see I'm using grid lines of my cutting mat to align my sentiment panel and make sure I adhere the panel in the center of my background piece. Going to use my tape runner again and adhere my panel onto a black A2 top folding card base and finish making this project. So I hope this video tutorial was useful and showed you how easy it is to create an inlaid background. The supplies I used to create this project are listed in my video description and also on my blog. If you liked this video and if you would like to see more videos like this, please give it a thumbs up and share with a crafty friend. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye!